Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Kitasha Sharma. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Wednesday, the 25th of January. India signs pact with UAE to build strategic oil reserves. Five killed as avalanche hit India's Kashmir. And now for all the details. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday held delegation-level talks with Abu Dhabi Crown Prince to enhance bilateral ties. India and UAE also inked 14 agreements.
The Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, who is on a three-day tour to India, received ceremonial reception at the Presidential Palace on Wednesday. The Crown Prince will be the chief guest at this year's Republic Day parade on 26 January. He is accompanied by a high-level delegation including ministers, senior officials and captains of industries. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Crown Prince held delegation-level talks. Both also witnessed the inking of 14 agreements including defence, maritime transport, comprehensive strategic partnership, shipping, agriculture, oil storage and management.
We agreed to sustain the momentum of our relations in key areas including energy and investments. Friends, we regard UAE as an important partner in India's growth story. I particularly welcome UAE's interest in investing in India's infrastructure sector.
The agreement on oil storage and management will allow the Gulf nation to fill the country's strategic storage facility in southern India. Prime Minister Modi said the agreement on trade remedies signed today will strengthen the trade partnership between both nations further. This year, as part of Republic Day celebrations on January 26, a contingent of the armed forces of UAE will become the first Arab soldiers to march during the parade at Rajpath, a ceremonial boulevard in New Delhi.
Staying on to news from India, security has been beefed up across India ahead of the Republic Day celebration to prevent any untoward incidents. India will celebrate its 68th Republic Day on 26 January.
Armed police and paramilitary personnel were on Wednesday deployed at strategic places across national capital New Delhi. Special security arrangements have also been put in place at Rajpath, a ceremonial boulevard in national capital, where thousands including Indian President Pranab Mukherjee and Prime Minister Narendra Modi will witness the Republic Day parade. Meanwhile, India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province turned into a virtual fortress to thwart any militant attacks which has seen a spike in the last few months. Roads were barricaded and security personnel were seen checking vehicles.
The situation in the valley as of now is quite fluid, and this year we have received more inputs as compared to last year. The threat perception is high if we compare the Republic Day celebration in 2016.
Meanwhile, security was also beefed up across northeastern Assam province following intelligence reports that armed separatists were planning to carry out subversive activities ahead of Republic Day. The police and security forces have identified vital installations like oil pipelines, railway tracks, industrial areas besides vulnerable areas like markets, railway stations as likely targets and have tightened security in these places.
Meanwhile, teachers in Pakistan-administered Kashmir recently held a protest against the termination of their colleagues. With the exam season closed, teachers raised concern over the studies of students.
Government teachers in Pakistan-administered Kashmir held a demonstration in front of the Central Press Club in Muzaffarabad. They protested against the illegal termination of a particular section of teachers without a valid reason.
31 जूनियर मुस्तकिल मुअल्लिमीन को जो है वो फारग कर दिया गया है सिर्फ इस बेस पे कि ये इंतज़ारिया में शामिल है और इसके मुताबिक किया कि यहाँ पे सिर्फ जो है वो एक ही कैडर के मुअल्लिमीन को जो है इसका निशाना बनाया गया है.
This comes as schools are nearing exams. The teachers expressed concern over the adverse effect on the studies of students who would inadvertently suffer due to wrongful terminations.
और हमारा ये मुतालबा है कि हम जो 31 मुलाजमीन जो इस वक्त जो है वो तालीमी सेशन का इख्तिताम है और ऐसे मौके पे जो है वो 31 मुलाजमीन को 31 स्कूलों को यूँ समझे कि 31 स्कूलों के बच्चों के साथ जो है वो ये ज़्यादती है.
The educational infrastructure of Pakistani Kashmir has often suffered at the hands of the mismanagement of authorities. Illegally occupied by Pakistan more than 6 decades ago, the region lacks a rigid administrative setup.
Moving on to news from Nepal, the Madhesi agitation, which began in September 2015 after the promulgation of the new constitution, had been maintaining its momentum in demanding constitutional amendment. But cracks have started appearing between the Madhesi parties. A report.
The proposed constitutional amendment bill, which was tabled in Nepal's legislative parliament recently, is in a limbo as political parties are yet to hold discussions on it. The consensus-deriving mechanism seems to have further hit a roadblock as fissures have started developing between parties of Federal Alliance, a coalition of Madhes-based parties. The Terai Madhesh Loktantrik Party is showing its dissatisfaction over the lately tabled amendment proposal. The party is demanding a revision to the amendment proposal by including the demarcation of provinces, citizenship and language, while others are willing to go ahead with the constitutional amendment bill as proposed.
तो संशोधन करते समय एक राजनीतिक सहमति करके परिमार्जन को आगे बढ़ाया जा सकता है और परिमार्जन के लिए वो लोग भी तैयार हैं, लेकिन उनकी तैयारी कुछ ही विषय पर है. हम लोग चाहते हैं कि परिमार्जन सीमांकन लगायत के विषय पर भी हो तो अच्छा है.
Nepal has been witnessing political unrest ever since the new constitution was adopted in 2015. The minor ethnic and regional parties allege that the new charter does not serve their interest. Therefore, the Federal Alliance, a coalition of 28 fringe political parties, was formed to demand constitutional amendment, including identity-based autonomy provinces and the equal representation in parliament.
Moving on to news from Pakistan, transgender community enjoyed the least amount of respect or rights in Pakistan. The scenario is changing as the country's Supreme Court has ruled to include the transgender as an option in the national census. Recently, the transgender community held a rare public party amid protection.
The transgender community in Pakistan's conservative northwestern city of Peshawar held a public birthday celebration for one of its members, Shakila. Police stood guard outside a birthday venue against possible attacks. Although the organizers have not secured written permission, there was no official opposition to the event and police was ordered to provide security. At the party, the group danced to the music while others threw money for cheering them up. The guests also fed cake to each other after the birthday girl cut her cake. In Pakistan, a transgender person's birthday is not the anniversary of their birth, but a celebration of life hosted in the middle age with guests expected to bring gifts of money to enable the person to start a small business or a project.
ये रस्म में मसलन आप लोगों में शादी होती है, बयां होती है, हमारे यहाँ पार्टी होती है, तो पार्टी का मतलब ये होता है कि हम एक दूसरे के साथ जिस तरह आप लोग शादी में लेन देन करते हैं, इस तरह हम बर्थडे में करते हैं. तो ये हम सब इकट्ठे होते हैं, दोस्त ग्रुप भाई जो होते हैं हम इकट्ठे होते हैं. हम जिनकी बर्थडे होती है उसको कोई 10,000 देते हैं, कोई 5,000.
Transgender people are rarely allowed to hold public events, with authorities refusing to grant permission or ordering police raids of venues where transgender events are held. Earlier this month, a top court ruled that Pakistan would count transgender people for the first time when it surveys its population in March this year.
An officer of Indian Army lost his life after a snow avalanche struck an army camp in Sonmarg area of Jammu and Kashmir, Ganderbal district, early on Wednesday. 8 other army men have been rescued safely. The avalanche struck the army camp at around 5:45 am local time, following which the rescue operations were commenced. In another avalanche incident, 4 members of a family died as their house was buried under snow in Gurez sector near the line of control, a police official said. The authorities in Jammu and Kashmir have issued avalanche warning in higher reaches of the valley following fresh snowfall yesterday and advised people to stay away from the mountains and foothills. The provincial government of India's northern Jammu and Kashmir announced transit accommodation upon the return of those who fled the province during an armed revolt. A report.
The displaced Hindus who fled India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province after an armed revolt in 1989 will be rehabilitated in transit accommodations upon their return, the Provincial Deputy Chief Minister said on Tuesday. The Provincial Assembly had passed a unanimous resolution last week to create a conducive atmosphere for the return of Kashmiri Pandits and other displaced persons to the valley.
Government has made a plan, whether this is a present government and or earlier government, we had made a plan that they should be brought back and this positioned in various transit accommodations. Finally, they shall be able to look after their properties, look after their houses, which they left about 2.5 decades back. So that's the plan.
About 6,000 transit homes will be reportedly built for those willing to return and work in the valley. On January 19, 1990, thousands of Kashmiri Pandits left their ancestral homes in droves after repeated threats from Muslim radicals. 200,000 to 300,000 Hindus are estimated to have subsequently fled the region.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. India signs pact with UAE to build strategic oil reserves. Five killed as avalanche hit India's Kashmir. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.